Hey all, Heretic here, and today in the Battlegrounds we're talking about all the changes in Season 10 to Naga. We've got Naga leaving, we've got new Naga arriving, we've got changes, we've got trinkets, we've got it all. Let's jump right into it. And of course we're going to start with the Naga that are leaving us. We've got a few going out. It's not as many as some tribes, but it's still enough to be impactful. The first minion leaving is going to be Mini Myrmidon. Tier 1, don't really care, it did its job. Next would be Shell Whistler. I actually like this one quite a bit, especially when you get to the late game and you start cycling more cards, especially if you have a brand. You really could milk some value out of this. I will miss this. Shelemental gone again. This card is a little problematic because there's always a way to cheat stats into the shop, then move them onto your minions or spit them in some way just to make these stats permanent, and that is always an issue, so I'm kind of happy to just see Shelemental not in the pool right now. Hopefully never again. Dark Crest Strategist is gone. I love this one. If you get it early, you slowly start to scale up, and if anything, you're just printing gold every turn, but you could get spellcraft value, eventually minions you actually want on your board, so I'm gonna be sad to see this one gone. Dagger Spine Thrasher, gone. Hey, you need a way to deal with someone who's got stats that are just hell of a lot bigger than yours? Run one or two of these, cast your spellcraft, throw the venom at them, have fun. Not anymore, sadly. Slither Spear, Lord of Gains, gone again. Wait, poor Slither Spear comes and goes. Just it feels like every couple patches he makes an appearance, then he bounces, then he comes back again, and yep, once again he's on vacation. Don't worry, he'll be back. He's just waiting for you to gain a little weight, maybe feel a little uncomfortable with yourself, then he'll be back to help you put all that muscle back on. And finally, Tide Mistress Athissa is gone. Athissa was how you typically scaled your Naga boards across the board, right? Obviously, you had other Naga you'd be winning with, but this was just some way to get all your stats up and feel relatively competitive with your entire board. Now, yeah, there's a lot of other builds we can put together, and obviously we'll have some new minions, hopefully, to take the place of Athissa in the Lord of Gains. But for now, we just have to wonder what they might be for a little while longer. And now for the Naga that are returning that left, and there's none. There's actually no Naga that have been changed from the previous meta in any way and or returning. Just nothing. Sorry, got nothing for you. I don't know if it's an error or what, but it looks like Naga are not changing too dramatically. Now for the Naga that are staying, and this is a list, so bear with me. It's gonna take a second. Ominous Seer, Deep Sea Angler, Lava Lurker, Thaumaturgist, Shell Collector, Zesty Shaker, Warden of Old, The Gladiator, Spike Scale Special, The Spell is Staying, Corrupted Myrmidon, Slippery Slider, Showy Cyclist, and I really don't love this one, so I'm kind of sad to see this one still here, but Glow Scale, Slilvaz the Vindictive, and Groundbreaker are all staying. So as you can see, the vast majority of Naga aren't going anywhere for the most part. They just all changed to be hunter skin colored. Otherwise, they're all exactly the same. All right, it's time for the new Naga. We have no returning Naga, so there must be a few new ones, and there are. Starting at tier 3, we have 4-1, the Weary Mage. Spellcraft, give a minion +2/+2. If it's a Naga, also give it Reborn until next turn. I like that a lot. Targeted Reborn. Obviously, there's not a lot of Naga who you usually want to reborn, but there are some, and we're going to be able to abuse those now quite a bit because of things like this. So maybe some of those Naga that before we didn't love will be significantly better. Next, we have the Coil Scale Sapper. 5/4 Death Rattle, get 2 random spellcraft spells. Not bad at all. I mean, every turn, you're going to be able to get a couple spells out of this thing. We can give it Reborn, as you've just seen with the Weary Mage. So there's going to be ways to milk a lot of value out of this. And a 5/4 stat line isn't bad at all. Coming back with Reborn, 5/1, I can deal with that. That might work well. At tier 4, we have the Tranquil Meditative. This 5/6 has a spellcraft. Your tavern spells that give stats grant an extra +1 attack this game. Not bad. Not crazy value, but a 5/6 stat line's not bad. It's just going to be hard to keep it on the board maybe compared to the rest of the things you're running. But if you're running more of a menagerie build, maybe this is the thing that you can slot in for your Naga portion of it. I don't know, I feel like they'd be better, but it still can serve a purpose. Next, we have a spell at tier 4, 2 gold Shifting Tide. Give a minion +3/+3. If it's a Naga, give it another +3/+3. Now, it's not insane, but it's only 2 gold to get a 6/6 buff for a Naga. And remember, no matter what, if you've buffed your tavern spells to where they're giving extra stats, this will get that buff because it is just a tavern spell. It is not a spellcraft. I don't know if I want to buy them out of the shop at 2 gold a piece. At tier 4, it feels like I could find something better. But if you've buffed your spells, why the hell not? Stepping up to tier 5, we have the Slumber Sorcerer, a 5/4 death rattle, get a Shifting Tide. So why pay for your Shifting Tide? Put a Slumber Sorcerer on the board and then have it kick those out. I don't know. We've seen some death rattles. Are we looking at a Titus Naga board? Maybe there might be enough. Next, we have the Fire Scale Hoarder. This 5/5 Naga Dragon, Battlecry and Death Rattle, get a Shiny Ring. Shiny Ring being the spell, give all your minions +1/+1. Not bad. If you've buffed your spells at all, great. Definitely can fit in a menagerie just for buffing your board overall, but could slot into a Naga board too. I don't know how long I'd want it because there's a lot of good options, but it is a option. Finally, at tier 6, we have the Fauna Whisperer 3/8 Naga. At the end of your turn, cast Natural Blessing on the minion to the left of this. Okay, well, Natural Blessing gives all the minions that share a type with the target +2/+2. So you either are running just one tribe build, or maybe you have an all-type minion who's sitting to the next to this. That way it hits everything with Menagerie. Can work either way. This is not too bad at all if you've buffed your tavern spells at all. Otherwise, it doesn't interact with any spellcraft, which feels weird for the Naga tier 6, that it just doesn't, because they have always been very driven for that. It's an odd change, but this could be good, but I feel like it'll be a better fit in a Menagerie board, if anything. But it definitely can slot into a Naga board, there's no doubt, especially with so many of the good tier 6 Naga we use to scale now being removed. Now we have to take a look at the lesser trinkets for Naga. We're going to start with the returning lesser trinkets. First, we have Lorewalker's Scroll for 2 gold. Whenever you cast a spell on a minion, give it +2/+1. Well, hey, spellcraft spells are spells. Cast them on a minion, whatever they normally do, plus this. In the early game, that is a big difference, especially if you're in trouble. So this can help stabilize your board if you've taken too much early damage. Not a bad one at all. Replica Cathedral is 2 gold. You cast your first spell each turn an extra time. This one is just important because you really need to remember what you have for spells and what you want to go first. Obviously, if your whole hand is full and you need to empty it, that's unfortunate if none of them are the optimal thing to cast first because it's going to go off twice. But just remember, some things you won't get value from if you cast them twice. Say, Divine Shield on a minion is only going to trigger once. You can't give it 2 layers of bubbles. Sorry. But a triple reward you get twice, that's a much better reward. So just remember to make sure the order you cast them in is as optimal as you possibly can. Rusty Trident is 2 gold, and that is start of combat. Give your Naga Death Rattle, get a random spellcraft spell. Well, there's a good number of Naga spellcraft, and depending what tier you're on, this can be quite useful. Obviously, in the early game, it's not going to be hugely impactful, but when you get to those late game spellcraft spells, can be quite good. It's random, your minions have to die for it, but if they do, at least you get some value out of it. So depending what else you're going for, this can work quite nicely for you. Now we've got the new lesser trinkets. First, we have Archaic Scroll for 2 gold. After you cast 6 spells, get a random tavern spell. This one is great. You're going to cast a lot of spells. Just remember, everything counts as a spell. Is coins, blood gems, spellcraft, tavern spells, triple rewards all count. So if you have 10 cards in your hand, but the one you cast gives you another card, and then that would be your 6th card, you've probably just burned the spell. So make sure you pay attention to that and get the order right as much as possible. There'll be times when you're stuck and there's nothing you can do, but hey, you got too many options. That's better than none. Lover Stickers next. That is 2 gold. The tavern offers an extra tavern spell after each refresh. The first one you buy each turn costs 1 less. I mean, not bad. You're getting tavern spells on the cheaper. Nothing wrong with that. More of them in there, the more to work with. So hey, why not? Weary Portrait is 6 gold. Get a Weary Mage and a Coil Sapper. Your Weary Mage's spellcrafts are permanent. All right, well, stats are permanent. That's good. Reborn is permanent. That's better. The minions themselves, you've got more generation of these spells, which is great because I'm assuming you probably already have a Weary Mage at this point. And the Coil Scar is just going to give you more spellcraft randomly anyways. At a lesser trinket, that means you're getting it nice and early. Yeah, it's expensive, but you're going to get enough value where I think that's not going to be a huge problem from this. We'll see. I could see this one end up costing more in the long run, but maybe I'm overestimating the value of these cards. Vash'jir Anemone is 2 gold, and that is start of combat. Give your Naga +1 health, improved by every 4 spells you've cast this game. Well, I mean, we're going to be casting a lot of spells. We're playing Naga. Odds are we're going to get that health buff decently high, so you should actually get some decent value out of this. I think it'll be interesting to see if it actually works. It feels like a lot of the other ones will be much more impactful instantly, but this one over the long-term portion of the game could give you a big reward. So it really just depends how it washes out. Is this enough, or is it just not going to matter in the long run? Like, if you don't have any spellcraft currently when you get offered this, who cares? But if you happen to have 4 or 5 casts already, at that point, yeah, this thing will actually be pretty decent to carry you through the mid game. So it could be quite good. A Jarin statuette for 1 gold is get 3 random spellcraft. At the start of each turn, get 3 more. I mean, that's not bad. For 1 gold, you're guaranteeing yourself 3 spellcraft every single turn. They're random, so they might not be great, and they also might be really good. So this one has some nice potential. Obviously, we'll have to play some games with it, but at 1 gold, it's at least cheap as hell. All right, it's time for the greater trinkets that are returning. Yeah, you might remember them, but not everybody else might have been here for them, or they've just spaced on it and don't remember. First, we're gonna start with Lore Walker's Scroll for 2 gold. Whenever you cast a spell on a minion, give it +5/+5. That's a permanent +5/+5. So yeah, all of your Naga spells you were casting out there, those spellcrafts will give a permanent buff of 5/5, in addition to the temporary buff that they're getting from the spellcraft itself. Pretty good value. Nazjatar Postcard is 2 gold. After you play a Naga, get a random spellcraft spell. It's not exciting, but if you're cycling a lot of Naga, every time you do, this is going to give you a spellcraft spell, so it certainly has some value and potential. Have to play some games to see if it's worth it. It seems like a lot of the other ones are much better though. Shaker Portrait is 3 gold. Get a Zesty Shaker. Your Zesty Shakers give 2 extra copies of the spell. So when you target them with a spellcraft, they're going to kick out 2 extra copies. You can't really go wrong with the value on that. Now, depending which spellcraft you're using, this might not be super useful, but typically if you've got the usual Naga types, this is going to work pretty damn well and you're going to get a big value out of this. So don't hesitate on this one if that's the way you're going. Glow Scale Portrait is 2 gold. Get a Glow Scale. Your first spellcraft enchantment each turn is permanent. Yep, permanent. You want to put Divine Shield on all of your minions forever? There you go. Get this, start casting. Obviously, this one's pretty good. If you need Divine Shields, which most of us could use them, here's how you do it. Spite Scale Sushi Roll is 4 gold. Get a Spite Scale Special. Your first 2 spellcraft spells on each turn cast twice. This one is obviously pretty good. That Spite Scale Special initially, giving you those extra ones, and then every turn, just the first 2 you cast are going to activate twice, depending on the ones you have, can be a big return on investment. Obviously, if the spellcraft you're working with aren't great, if they're targeted multiple times on something, not great. So it all depends what you have. All right, now it's time for us to look at the greater Naga trinkets that are new and see if they're going to live up to the hype. Are we going to be excited about these, or are we going to be like, eh? We're going to find out soon. First, for 3 gold, the Dazzling Dagger, your minions have +1 attack. Improved by every 4 spells you've cast this game. Now, if you're playing Naga in the late game, you've probably cast a lot of spells. That's a lot of attack. The question is, do you need just that attack? There's a lot of greater trinkets that do a lot of interesting mechanical things. This one just gives you raw stats based on the number of spells you've cast. Do you need that attack? Well, it depends. Are you fighting a board that summons a lot of tokens and doesn't care if you smash down a couple big minions? Or are you fighting just a couple big minions who aren't running Divine Shields? Because you're Naga, you probably have a couple. Maybe you can just beat them down. It really depends what the lobby's shaking up to be, but I feel like this one isn't typically what you're gonna want, but maybe I'll be proved wrong and this will be the best one. We'll see. Charming Panpipes is 3 gold. At the end of each turn, give your leftmost minion +1/+1. After you cast a spell, improve this. Well, I'm guessing we're gonna cast a lot of spells every turn because we're Naga, and this is permanent, it's happening at the end of my turn, so these stats are going to be on that minion forever, so you can just keep swapping which minion's at your leftmost position. The only issue with that is, yeah, typically you want that to be a bumping minion and not something you're scaling up, but if they're getting enough stats, maybe you don't care, you have targeted Divine Shields, and you're just happy. We'll see. I am excited to play a little bit of this one to see how well it works. Finally, Thaumaturgist Portrait, 3 gold. Get a Thaumaturgist. Your Thaumaturgist spellcrafts are permanent. And yeah, that's almost a pretty good tongue twister there. Okay, well, yeah, it feels weird to be getting our greater trinket and then taking a tier 2 minion. But by this point in the game, you either already have Thaumaturgist, or you just have scaled up them so much by casting a lot of spells that this thing will actually give a significant buff. And once again, it's permanent. So when you're going to hit your Zesties with all of these, they're going to get permanent buffs. So you certainly can build some really large Naga boards with this. So yeah, while it is a tier 2 minion, it definitely does fit for a greater trinket and offers some interesting potential. Don't know if it's actually going to work, but it feels like it should work pretty well. Depending what other trinkets you're offering and what you've been doing, this certainly could work for you. All right, that's it. That's all the changes to Naga. That's how they're working. What do you think? Are you interested in the new Naga setup now where, yeah, we have the traditional, we're going to buff, put a bunch of big stats on our board, but at the same time, maybe we're going to go Death Rattle. Maybe we're going to go for weird, random, reborn things and make our board works like that. I'm kind of excited to see how it plays out and works. It's at least different. I'm a little disappointed that in addition to doing their unique thing, which is Spellcraft, they're now kind of going Death Rattle and Reborn, which kind of feels like other tribes thing. But that aside, at least it's different. I would hope for something else myself, but that's interesting enough. What do you think? What are your thoughts on it? Do you think it's cool, or are you just like, yeah, I don't really love this. Just give me what we just had. I don't know. You let me know. I want to hear in the comments because I'm excited. I always want to know these things. Thanks for watching all. I'll catch you in the Battlegrounds. Until then, have a great day. Later.